Any bumps and bruises we should need to know about? Everyone okay?
No, everyone's fit and healthy and available for selection.
Thank you, Dave. Steve, obviously the last midweek game, big one. We saw last week that people can put their hands up and get a place in Test 23. I guess you're wanting more of the same from the players this week.
Absolutely, we want to get a win. We've gone with a mentality that the next game is the most important one, and that's tomorrow night. The players are eager and ready to go, prepared well for it. We know it's a sellout. It's against a very, very strong side, so it's a great challenge.
Looking at what came out of the weekend, obviously physicality is a word that's been used a lot of times. I'm not trying to draw you into the Conor Murray thing, but if players can get round the edge of the ruck, maybe to target a 9, does that imply that maybe the Lions need more guards around the edge to protect them? Because if they can get to him, maybe they can charge the kick down.
Well, as you saw, both teams are putting pressure on, with us getting 3 charge downs in the game on Saturday as well. So pressuring kickers is part of the game. Obviously, you know, that's all reliant upon the referee making sure the offside line is refereed well. We adhere to that. We penalised us once for it on Saturday. Now we've got to protect the players, as you always do, in every facet of the game. Whether that's delivery from a set piece, whether that's somebody trying to kick the ball, wherever it is. It's something we'll always look at, and we'll always try and put pressure on the opposition as they will on us.
Was it more physical than any other Test match Saturday?
I think when you're playing this level, it's going to be played at the edge. That's the intensity that's required to compete at this level.
Looking at Brodie Retallick's performance as a second row, I imagine you enjoyed it immensely, but obviously not against your team. How do you keep a player quiet of that stature and of that quality?
Well, certainly, yes, played well. I think that the danger when you concentrate upon any one player in the opposition team, there's 14 other players on the field that can hurt you. So what we need to do is concentrate upon our preparation. We make sure we have our plans in place that are to apply pressure in different ways and on different opposition as they will with us. But the concentration very much is upon how well we prepare for the game.
And just find, is this almost like a perfect game between 2 Test matches and a side that do like to attack, they like to play? It is quite similar from weekend to weekend, mid-weekend as well. I
think it's a great game tomorrow night against very, very good opposition. They're packed full of quality players. It's one we're all looking forward to.
Steve, how do you achieve a balance between, in terms of selection, say for a Test game? I'm not dismissing the match tomorrow night, we'll talk about that in a second, but how do you achieve a balance this week between going with the players that you already have, or changing your approach to a match, or bringing in fresh personnel? How do you try and achieve a balance between all those things?
Well, I think first and foremost is focus on tomorrow night and winning that game. That's our aim. As I said, the next game is always the most important game, and within that you pick a team that's always wants the game plan that you want to play. You always respect and take into account the strengths of the opposition and the opportunities that are presented, and then that's what we've done. And we'll pick a team after this game. We'll pick a team for Saturday's game.
And you've certainly shown after last week that your mind is completely open, not just you personally, but everybody, in terms of selection. Given what happened midweek last week.
Well, we've got a squad packed full of quality players, and they're all desperate to play for the Lions. We've got a tremendous following of fans down here. You see the passion that comes from both the players, the supporters, everybody involved in this fantastic organisation. And I think everyone will be desperate to be on the field tomorrow night, and they'll be desperate again to be on the field on Saturday. And
do the players believe that they, to use your word, are they desperate for a performance from themselves? Because in many respects they haven't hit probably the heights that have been required on some occasions.
I think, I reiterate, the next game is always the most important one. Tomorrow night we are anticipating a great game, an exciting game, 2 quality teams, and I'm sure it's going to be as intense encounter as is required when playing at this level.
Nick. Steve, obviously Warren spoke yesterday about the issue with Conor Murray and the kicking and targeting of the kicking that will be raised with the referees later in the week. Steve Hanson's called a radio station today to talk about that. He seems to be annoyed about the situation and sort of suggested it was desperate. But I mean, given that everything that's gone on previously with the discussions with the referees behind closed doors and in public, the two mirroring each other, is this just an extension of that? And are you surprised as a group that was Steve Hanson's reaction?
Firstly, I think that, as I said earlier, there'd be always, in games like this, you're always trying to pressure different aspects of the opposition. So there's always going to be pressure on the kickers, pressure on set piece, whatever it may be. And you need to be, both teams will be trying to do that. As I said, we tried as well on Saturday and got 3 charge downs. The focus will be on making sure that we have the right systems in place and we execute those as well as possible. In terms of the comments, I've been on the training field all morning, and in terms of all the discussions, I'm concentrating on coaching, and that's what myself and the players and the coaches will concentrate on, is making sure we prepare as well as we can for tomorrow night's game. And training went well today. Players are in good shape and they're really looking forward to the game.
So you and your role, do you kind of detach yourself from all that?
Detach myself from
those comments, from the sort of, because obviously
I concentrate on doing my role as well as possible, which is to help the players prepare and help improve the players so that they go onto the field in the best possible situation to try and get the result that we want and the performance we want.
I mean, there's a suggestion from what Steve Hanson was saying, sort of he was inferring that meant that the Lions were accusing the All Blacks of targeting players in order to injure them. That wasn't the way Warren put it across. He was just asking the referees to monitor it. I mean, any frustrations that that's then how they're interpreting what was said? How
the interpretation?
Suggesting that what Warren said yesterday would lead to the suggestion that it's the Lions claim that All Blacks are going out to deliberately injure.
As I say, I haven't heard those comments. We'll concentrate. Rugby at the top level is an intense competition where both teams are trying to apply as much pressure on the opposition as possible. That's the nature of elite level sport. So I can't comment on what's been said because I don't know. What I'll just concentrate on is making sure that we prepare for the game tomorrow night as well as possible, and then after we played that game, we'll be concentrating on making sure we're prepared as well as possible for Saturday's game.
But I mean, obviously, in your experience, players don't go out to injure each other, do they? It's, like you're saying, it's a physical game.
I've certainly never experienced that in my career.
Steve, just looking, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Test match. One, that line out, near their line out, just early in the second half, your views on that, and two, how you thought the second rows went.
Which one in particular? Shall I know?
The corners that were taken.
Yep. So you back the decisions on the players on the field, and ultimately it comes down to how we execute, and that's we refer to how we prepare for the game. We're making sure that we prepare as well as possible. So for tomorrow night's game, so we step up, and then it'll be after tomorrow night's game we step up again.
But in terms of the analysis of it, is there anything you didn't expect in another way, anything you didn't expect last weekend?
I think that. Is there anything to do? No, I think what we've got to do is concentrate on the execution of what we do. We've got to execute better. We know that.
Do you have any say, Stephen, in the timing of the Booker's substitutions? I had an instance at the weekend where Jamie was taken off and Ken was asked to throw him and kicked the corner first thing, lost the line. I mean, what's your input there? Is that purely one?
Yeah, no, so coaches in the coaching box have input into that, and to be clear, that loss was not to do with the throw. Absolutely, we lost one line out on Saturday and it was nothing to do with the throw.
Was that a good play by New Zealand, or was it a mix-up with the call?
I think we're playing against quality opposition. As I said to you a week ago, they've been the best line out in the world for several years now, and they always put pressure on opposition lineouts. So we lost one, and it wasn't to do with the throw.
Steve Borthwick suggested yesterday that there's going to need to be a step up in physicality going into the second test this weekend, following the weekend. Does that mean that there was any deficit from what was coming from the coaches or what was being asked of the players in the first test, that you weren't up to the mark and there needs to be an improvement on that this week?
Well, I think quite clearly we lost the game. So we need to improve. That's the nature of rugby. We want to win the games, and we didn't. So we need to improve, and that everybody's involved in that process. We want to continue to get better. So that's players, that's coaches, that's everybody around the team who has an impact upon this team, and everybody does. So ensuring that our impact is ensuring this team improves.
Were you surprised, having gone into that, looking back at it, that the physicality was something that obviously there wasn't enough of?
Well, clearly we lost too many contacts. That happened, and ultimately then we ended up on the wrong side of the scoreboard. We know that needs to be addressed for this weekend. There'll be changes in terms of, I'm sure, the way tactically things are done, but we need to improve. We're concentrating very much on tomorrow night's games first. We've got the game tomorrow where we want to ensure that we improve our performance from our last game we played. As I said, we want to keep improving, and that's the nature of every player, every coach, everybody around this team. We want to keep getting better.
Steve, a question about the fans. Why are the British fans so much better than the Kiwi fans?
I am not going to make any comparisons. What I will say is that the fans have been absolutely fantastic, and since the numbers are swelling, they're getting bigger and bigger. And I thought they were fantastic on Saturday night. And I think it's clear everybody who's wearing red has got a part to play in this team going forward. That's the players wearing the shirt, it's everybody around the team wearing it. The supporters. We want to make sure we continually improve and get better. We want another win tomorrow night. That's our target. The fans have been fantastic, and I'm sure are going to continue to be.
Steve, you've worked with Ian Henderson for roughly 6 weeks now. How impressed have you been by his impact, and do you feel he's ready for a test selection?
I think he's got better and better as the tour's gone on. I thought his performance last week was very, very good, and I think he's particularly saw the way carrying the ball and his strength in contact. He ran the line out very well last week also. So I think he's a player who's getting better and better, and it continually adds more competition to selection, and it makes things difficult. We want players in every position putting their hand up for selection, because we want those difficult decisions to be made.
Steve, just wondering what Sam's mood has been like in camp this week, how he's dealt with losing the Test captaincy, and how close he is to being back to his best.
So Sam's tour captain has been exceptional every single day of this tour, both on and off the field, and his impact, even though he was not starting on Saturday, was brilliant. He was brilliant around the group, the way he spoke to the group, the way you saw him chatting to individuals and helping them. He's been in big games, lots of big games, and his experience is fantastic. So I can't praise him highly enough.
Steve, with 3 games left, Steve Hansen mentioned today the word desperation, but actually, do you need to be desperate now for these last 3 games?
We need to concentrate on tomorrow night, producing an even better performance than what we produced previously to get the result we want. And as I say, I keep talking about, we want to keep getting better. That's the thing we need to do. There's things we want to pick up from last week's game, then Saturday's game, and then to put into practice tomorrow night. That's our focus.
But there's not long left on tour, is it? Is there a real sense of urgency now?
I think when you're involved in elite sport, there is always a sense that you want to keep getting better as quickly as possible. We've got a game tomorrow night, and then the games, in elite level sport, the games come thick and fast, and you want to be involved in those big games. Players, coaches, staff around the team, supporters, and that's one of the great things about this tour. So we've got another big game tomorrow, another game we're all really looking forward to, against very good opposition.
Talking about line calling you mentioned earlier on, are you happy with Marrow doing that if required?
I think we've got plenty of options. I think George Cruz called the line out very, very well on Saturday, and I think we've seen in previous games, as I talked about Ian Henderson, we've talked about Marrow's called on this tour as well. Alwyn Jones has called on this tour as well. We've got options there, which is great.
Thank you very much.